So much for staying with us. If you're just joining us, this is Firecrackers, and we're about to start discussions on preparations and concerns for Edo governorship election. And we have joining us live from Edo State, Omobude Ago. He is the Coordinator General, Edo Civil Society Organizations. Good evening, and thank you so much for joining us today on Firecrackers.
My sister, God bless you. Mr. Omobude Ago is actually the name.
Okay, all right. Now to the discussions we have at hand. I'm going to be starting with my guest here in the studio. So Edo State is going to be choosing a new governor. Edo will decide on the 21st of September 2024. So far, are you impressed with the preparations that you've been seeing?
You see, Edo State election.
Are you meaning from INEC
September
or from the political party or the actors themselves?
Unfortunately, that state shares boundary with my state.
Okay.
So that makes me to have the kind of feeling and love for that state. But looking at what has been spreading on media, online, print, and the rest, and some visual, it shows that some of the politicians are desperate to win at all cost. Let me say this. The politicians in Edo State, you are indigenous of that state. What belongs to Edo State belongs to you. It doesn't belong to me. I only have feelings for them. So I would rather advise that politicians should guide their utterances, their symbolic communication, and their interaction be well guided with ethics. I can say that some of them they involve in what I call careless talk. You don't win the election on the faces of newspaper or on the Facebook or what I call generally internet. You win the election based on what you have done to your people, what your people feel about you, the impact you have made in their life, and then generally your contribution to human development within that state. Those are the factors that can assure you or makes someone to win an election. But a situation whereby somebody will just come out openly and say, I must win. I doubt such a slogan whether it can fly. Be that as it may, I think in the next few days the election will come on. I will appeal to the political parties who have fielded in candidates for the number one position of Edo State to put up their thinking time and to have love for their state and for the infrastructure the government has put in place in that state, so that continuity and aside from that, coexistence could be in place. What I mean by continuity is not as regards the power that be or the power or the person in power now. What I mean by continuity is the existence of that state. That's what I mean by continuity. So, in order not to misconstrue what I've said. Now, you see, politicians are always said, they are intelligent, they are wise. There are times they are careless in making some more chances. Because in the midst of 100 persons, one single man cannot claim to be too much intelligent than the 99 elements. That must be a misconception. So a single man cannot be the most intelligent man in the midst of 100. Now, in that wise, there are candidates, there are political parties who want to display their, what I call popularity, their competence. That competency and popularity will be determined by the electors, the voters in that state. Importation or influence from other parts of the country will not do justice to humanity in that state. Because I had someone say, importing that will cause problems. I would advise those people don't involve in that kind of things. It will not assist them at all. It will not bring progress to that state. What they should do is that the legally registered voters be allowed to determine who is going to determine their fate in the next 4 years. They should allow that to happen. Don't allow intruders, gate cashers, uninvited persons to come and thwart the peace and tranquility of Edo State. From the past, I don't had a situation whereby Edo State is thrown into pandemonium. Even when there were crises in this country, there were demonstrations, I think Edo State maintained what I call low-key. So if that state has been maintaining what I call low-key, why would the people in that state, the indigenous of that state, the voters in that state, will not, because of one election, to come and throw the state to pandemonium? I appeal, please shelve those plans. If you contest an election today and you fail, that does not mean that you cannot win tomorrow. What you do is that you go back to your drawing board with your thinking tanks and strategize ahead of the next 4 years. Then you come back to the drawing board. By then it may be your luck to win. We have instances in this country that maybe a president, ex-president or ex-governor who had considered for several years and lost. At the end of the day, became what? Became president, became governors. Similar thing will not be out of place. It happens in Edo State. So don't make it what time some people said, whether if I didn't win, if this will happen. Don't belong to that group. Belong to the group of peace and progress. Okay. The peace and progress of that state is of concern to we that share boundary with that state. Then, aside from that, it will reduce cost, reduce it. Now, the law enforcement agencies, be the police and the rescue defense corps, they've mentioned series of numbers of persons or personnel to be deployed to that state. If not the utterances being made in that state, I think the number wouldn't have helped to that. I don't know what it means. If 1,000 policemen is moving from, let's say, from Maiduguri to Ondo State, you know what it costs federal government to move them down there? Cost of fuel, airlift, and the rest. Security, food, what else? It runs to millions. And when government spend money now, they spend 200 million on this, people say, the money is too much. Who costs it? Who costs it? They are. So let us be on that low key so that we can have perfect coexistence.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much for that. And now to our virtual guest. When it comes to some of the concerns that we have been seeing emerging about the Edo State election, we have civil society group, including your group, to expressing worry about security and integrity, even going as far as calling for the sack of the REC. And then there is also this worry about the security coming to guard the election. There's worry about them being partisan. So could you please tell us more about that?
All right. Can you get it clearly? No?
Yeah. Yeah, please go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, please go ahead. Yes.
Okay. Basically, from our side, we've seen so much comments of hate and bitterness that have caused a lot of apprehension in the city. There's serious tension as we speak. We cannot ascertain, but we are aware there is a lot of movement of arms and ammunition among political parties going into the hands of young, jobless Edo. We are very worried. We are very worried. And those are part of the reasons why we have applauded the General Police when he said he has suspended the local vigilante temporarily or indefinitely. That's the word he used. He has suspended local vigilante indefinitely because of the elections. Again, we are also worried because of the allegations by the ruling party at the state level to claim that the reason why the General Police has banned the local vigilante is so that the ruling party at the federal level can take advantage of that window. So that is why we have moved to the security agencies to say we want them to be neutral. They to mean what they mean by what they say. That if they are withdrawing the local vigilante, it means that they want neutrality and they want nobody to carry illegal arms around town during the elections. Not before, during, and a little after the elections. Because it's a very volatile place when it comes to violence. It is very, very volatile place when it comes to violence. So that's why we move out to meet the security agencies. We saw the Commissioner of Police, and we also met with the Director of the DSS, who have promised us that they will maintain neutrality Same message you have sent to Professor Yakubu Mahmood when he came to Edo 3 days ago in a town hall meeting, and we insisted that we want INEC to also maintain neutrality, and they must prove to us that they have the competence, the total competence to conduct this Edo state governorship election, so it will not look like what we had in the last general elections, where the equipment they deployed for the elections all seem to have failed, and they returned us back to the traditional manual system of election vote counting, which is not guaranteed. So whether they were right or wrong, now they've left us between a complete sanctity, and we are not sure. So we want, that's our desire for this 2024 Edo State governorship elections.
Groups who calling for the sack of the REC in Edo State. What do you think amounted to that decision or to that proposal calling for the sack of the REC?
Oh, that and the civil society is not in support of that demand. Whatever their reasons are, we think at this time that is just too political for us. We just have a few days to the elections. If they are calling for the sack of a REC for whatever reasons, I don't know how cogent their reason could be. There certainly will be another REC that will come. What if that other REC comes and they don't also agree with him? Will they also demand for his sack? If they keep sacking the RECs, for their political reasons and suspicion, the election will not hold. The election will definitely need to be postponed. That's the truth. If a new REC comes in now, in just like 7 days to the election, that new REC will need to start going around a whole lot of things, starting afresh, and might be completely ignorant of the activities and things that are already on ground. So I think it is not the REC that is the problem. It is the political actors that just want to create a problem where there is no. Secondly, that's what I think.
Laid out for Adamawa state election, where we add the REC, that's the resident electoral commissioner, coming up to declare the name of the candidate of another party result. Do you think that perhaps there might be fear of recurrence of such action, that is the reason that they might be calling for the sack of the REC?
They that demanded should be able to give up their reason. The only reason I heard them, I heard the party say, or those that are demanding for the redeployment, is that the REC and Edo State, who have been here for over 1 year, is related to Nyesom Wike, the minister for the Federal Capital Territory. I think that's the only reason they gave. And I think that, for me, that is not cogent enough. They would have since made this demand long ago, not now. That we are just a few days to the election proper. This REC has been here for over 1 year already. So the money called for his redeployment because it's related to Wiki, for now, I think it's not reasonable. So that other reason you give, I don't think it's part of their reason. That's not what they mentioned. I don't think it's part of their fear. Their fear is just that the guy is related to Nyesom Wike, and they can't trust him to be as an arbiter in these elections. But I don't think, for me, that's reasonable enough. But every party have their agents everywhere, from the unit to the ward to the INEC office itself. So their agents should be able to give them the report as it goes. So the REC basically does not have much it does in the field. It's just at the headquarters to wait to do collection, to make the collections. Rather, what I will suggest is that they ask that 2 or 3 other RECs from other states should come and join this one to assist, so that they too can be a kind of maybe indifferent. Basically, and that's what I think. But deploying the REC at this moment of the election itself is not safe for the election. It's not at all. It's not.
The fears that you expressed when it comes to arms and ammunition that might be given to jobless people that might upset the election. So apart from that, how would you say INEC's preparation has been so far for next Saturday's election?
They have told us in the town meeting we had with Professor Yakubu Mahmood that they have everything in place. The same thing they told us before the general elections, and at the end, we found that they didn't do exactly what they said. So for us, we, like every other Nigerian, even though in the civil society, are very, very uncertain about INEC. We are very, very uncertain. I must be sincere with you, my sister. We are very, very uncertain. But our eyes are on the ball. That is our slogan for 2024 as civil society people. We want to set our eyes on the ball and see how much INEC can truly prove that they are ready for these elections. We cannot tell, we cannot say. We are just here watching and our eyes on the ball. We want to monitor the process from the beginning to the end. We can only report how prepared they were. We cannot report how prepared they are now. We cannot. We can only report how prepared they were and how fair we saw that the election was, if they are actually true to their word. There's so much uncertainty, very, very much, too much fear, too much uncertainty. There's so much apprehension and tension everywhere from the INEC, for the INEC, and their preparedness is high, because they did not meet expectation in the last general election, which just about a year ago. So what do you expect Nigerians to expect, if not uncertainty? That's what we are. That's just where we are right now.
It's supposed to be an activity where people would decide who they want their next leader to be. So now I would like us to switch our attention now to the people of Edo State. So what advice would you give to them for this coming election, especially when there have been politicians will always be politicians, that said, but what advice would you give to the residents of Edo State who will be voting for the election?
We want to use this opportunity to our people to come out in their numbers. They shouldn't be afraid. They shouldn't be frightened. They shouldn't be deterred. They should come out and cast their vote. If they find any obstacle in the course of the elections, they can just reach out to the civil society organization. Our situation room is open. We put our numbers everywhere so that we can be collating all the information and sending to all the appropriate authorities. INEC and the security agencies basically are the appropriate authorities during these elections. But they have assured us that security will be tight and there will be no cause for alarm. So we encourage the people to come out in their numbers. We don't want them to be scared. We don't want them to be deterred or frightened. Just come out and cast your vote. We are sure. We cannot vote anyway because INEC can be a disappointing figure. But we are sure that our vote this time will certainly count.
What would be your advice to the residents and indigents of Edo State who would be exercising their franchise come 21st September? That is just next week, Saturday.
Well, I will only advise them to use their vote to determine what they want in the state. Your vote is your power. Go out, vote peacefully, let your vote count. So that will definitely give them whatever they want. Whatever grievances they may have. They should use their vote to determine that. Not by brandishing cutlasses and broken bottles here and there, or making utterances that can set the whole country on fire. They should use their votes and determine whom they want to govern them for the next 4 years. Your vote is your right, is your power, is your weapon.
All right, thank you very much for that. I think all things being equal, by this time next week, either we should have known who the new governor of Edo State would be, or the collection of results and counting of results should still be in process. But for a peaceful election, we hope that everyone will be participating would be safe. Also, I think this too is a call to people of Edo State to not let themselves be used as thugs and peace disruptors. No one needs that at this time. The economy is hard enough as it is. We don't need disturbances.
People are talking of wealth. People are talking of this. People are talking of high cost of living. The food stores are very expensive. Then why would person be clamoring for violence? Is it not people that eat comfortably, will be able to think, will be able to fight? Somebody who is battling with hunger, can they come out and demonstrate? Let us think deeply, please.
Okay, all right. So thank you so much for that, and many thanks to our virtual guest Omobude Ago, who joined us live from Edo State, Coordinator General Edo Civil Society Organizations. We thank you so much for being part of Firecrackers today.
Opportunity.
Okay, all right.